G'day everyone, Prep Aussie here. I hope you're all well in whatever part of the world you're watching this video. Today is Sunday the 19th of the 4th, 2020, and the time here is 0922 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Well folks, plenty to go through, and on this video I'm kind of hoping that you guys share this with a couple of people, or share it with everybody, because this is going to be a critical thinking video, and I'll explain as I go, but I'm going to ask you to share it in America with Richie from Boston if you can. All right, let's move on. Here's my sponsor, Totally Rawsome. Totally Rawsome make golden activated turmeric paste for humans and for dogs, and several other items as well. Guys, look, this stuff does work. If you've got inflammation in your joints, or you're feeling poorly, take this stuff. Honestly, every single person that I've recommended it to, which is obviously you guys, has raved about it. It does work. My knee joint gone, pain's gone. It's fantastic. There's their contact details, 0433 165 848. That's within Australia. Don't forget to add the 061, drop the O, and info@totallyrawsome.com.au. And I'd like to give David Morgan's website a plug. As you know, David comes on every now and again and gives us some great words of advice. I'd highly recommend that you read David's blog. It's very informative, folks. I'll put both of those links at the end. Right. Just hang on a second. Okay, today's video is actually dedicated to this bloke. Richie, if you get to watch this, people told me, you obviously don't know who I am, but Americans have told me to watch your show, who watch my show. So I thought, okay, well, I'll give it a watch. And I have to be honest, some of it is a bit left field for me, or it was, and I'm going to explain to you why I thought it was in a minute. I just thought that some of the stuff that Richie was saying was a little bit, there's that word conspiratorial again, isn't there? And so I kept watching his shows, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, okay, righto, whatever. And I started to connect the dots, because what Richie does is in some weird way is actually plant a seed in your head, and you start thinking about things, even if you don't agree with it. So I started watching it, and then I stopped watching it, and then the best thing ever happened to me. I started to realize that he was right. No, maybe not on everything, but I'm starting to realize that this guy probably knows more about what's going on than anybody. So if you haven't watched his show, just watch it, because there's some stuff on there that you might think is left field, but then once you start to think about it, you actually realize, oh yeah, hang on a minute, this guy's actually right. He's an ex-army bloke, so he kind of knows where he's coming from, if you know what I mean. Now, based on that, I'm hoping that you guys send this video to Richie, because I haven't got his email address or anything like that. So I'm going to go through this in a critical thinking fashion, so you guys understand how much bullshit this whole coronavirus thing is here in Australia, or frankly all over the world. Are people dying from it? I don't know. Haven't got a clue. Okay, folks. Well, one of the things that Richie started saying, okay, folks, one thing I wanted to say before I go on, I'm going to I'm going to call this episode Mr. Squiggle. Now, if anybody outside of Australia doesn't know who Mr. Squiggle is, and if you're young enough, you don't know who Mr. Squiggle is. Well, Mr. Squiggle used to be this puppet character on TV here in Australia. And the amazing thing about Mr. Squiggle is that he used to draw everything upside down. And then when he turned it over, it was perfect. So this guy, whoever this guy was, this Mr. Squiggle, used to be able to draw, the guy who was doing the puppet, he used to be able to draw upside down. And then when they turned the picture up, then you'd actually see what it was. And he used to start with 2 or 3 lines, I think it was. They'd give him a picture and he'd say, oh, this person wants you to make this, blah, blah, blah. And basically what I'm trying to say here is it was all smoke and mirrors sort of thing, you know what I mean? And that's what I thought of when I saw Richie's thing. And when it dawned on me just exactly what was going on. Now, I've got a lot of tabs open here, so I'm going to try and get through this properly. Hang on a sec. Here we go. So this is where this all started for me. Now, I'm watching this. I watched a small skit on Richie from Boston's thing, and he was talking about the bodies being buried, or they're burying mass graves and all this sort of stuff. Now, okay, and then I thought, okay, well that's kind of weird. And then I listened to the governor of New York saying that they set a 14-day deadline to bury bodies. If you don't come and get the body in 14 days or something, then they're going to bury the bodies. Well, folks, I got to be honest. This really perplexed me, right? Because I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, if you're burying boxes of dead people, why is nobody coming to pick these bodies up? And you can see for yourself how many of this is. I'll play this just quickly. Look. Folks, there is literally thousands of these. This is on this Mary Island in New York, just off New York somewhere. I don't know where it is, but Hart Island, sorry. How can they be doing this? What? But in the same token, they're actually showing you pictures of the people that died. So who are these people that they're burying in these pits? Homeless people, John Does, nameless people. You're telling me that they've got to dig these massive pits for people who have no relatives and whose relatives haven't come to pick them up. Does this make sense to anybody else but me? Because I don't get it. So who are these people that they're burying? If families aren't coming to get these bodies, or if families do come to get these bodies, who is it that they're coming to bury? And then you have things like this. Dead bodies pile up outside New York funeral home. We've got no more room inside. Really? Even though you've got for refrigerated transports? Now they're using refrigerated transports to pack these bodies away. So how did these bodies get here? And why are they there? That's just bullshit. That no country in this, America's not a third world country. It's just ridiculous. Listen to this. The city charges relatives $250 to go to Hart Island and get the bodies back after they've been buried out there. It's mayhem. People are panicking. Her loved one is at a hospital and they told her he was going to be moved to Connecticut, which made no sense at all. Look, this is just absolute nonsense, folks. Now, as I said, Mr. Squiggle, everything's being drawn upside down until you get to the point where you turn the picture up and you realise, oh, hang on a minute, this is all back to front. So let's move on. Okay, for any of you from outside Australia who don't know about this particular boat, this is called the Ruby Princess, which is currently docked in Port Kembla, just off Wollongong, just south of Sydney. Now, I haven't really been paying attention to this because of the fact that it seems that what actually happened here, folks, is this boat a month ago, or whenever all this started, cruised into Sydney Harbour, and the Australian authorities let every single person off this boat, even though they knew that the people had coronavirus. And obviously it spread throughout Australia and blah, blah, blah. Now that boat refused to leave Australian waters because it's got something like 1,500 crew on board who had coronavirus. Now, the interesting thing here is that this ship was supposed to leave here today, Australian waters today, but it's not. It's sitting in Port Kembla, and it's now come out that this boat has, most of the crew have coronavirus, and some are really ill, which is fine, I guess. We fix them up, blah, blah. But here's the thing that they keep reporting on. It's going to take a couple of weeks, apparently, to test all these people on this boat. If that's true, how come they can test over 3,000 people in one day in Australia and get their results back in 24 hours? How come it's taking over 2 weeks to test all this crew on this boat? Once again, critical thinking. Mr. Squiggle, everything's upside down, which is what Richie from Boston is saying. Everything is back to front. How come I can walk down the street here with my whole family, I can walk down this whole street here with the rest of my neighbourhood, go and get tested, and we can know within 24 hours, but they can't test 1,000 people on a boat who aren't going anywhere, and it takes 2 weeks to get the results back? There's something bigger here, folks, that I just don't understand at the moment, but it's going to come out and we're going to shit ourselves when we do. I think they're using this boat as the big finale type of thing. Okay, this one here is for Richie. This is one of the reasons I wanted to send this to him. I wish I had my camera face because you wouldn't believe my face. This is how this is working out now. We have to have an app. They're going to force people to have this app soon. They're going to say, I'm sorry, but you have to download this app on your phone so we can know where you are at all times. I'm going to play this video. It goes for 2 minutes. I'll let it play.
Has ruled out forcing.
Listen to the words, please. Listen to what they're saying.
Australians to sign up for the government's coronavirus tracking app. To be effective, 40% of us need to download it, but new research shows other countries have struggled to get close to that.
Did you hear the tone of her voice, folks? They're using this as a psyop in your head. You have to have the app. You must have the app. Whatever you do, you must take the app. It's ridiculous. Right, I'm going to come to the end here, right? To this bloke. Now, every single person that you listen to says, oh, it doesn't track you, it doesn't do this, it doesn't do that. That's exactly what this thing does do, folks. It's a tracking app by Stealth. It's called a tracking app. Listen to what this clown says. Now, this is the other thing. Now they're making you feel guilty about being stuck inside because they stuck you inside, remember? So it must be our fault that we can't get outside because we haven't got the tracking app. Listen to this.
If a larger percentage of population actually adopts them.
If not, the economic cost could be high. From May, staying home will cost the economy as much as $40 billion a month, according to the research. For health authorities trying to track cases and stop outbreaks, any uptake of the app is helpful.
We don't have an app now, so we don't have that to assist us. So a 1% uptake of the app would be an improvement.
But there are privacy and security concerns. The government says the Privacy Commissioner and Australia...
Do you understand, folks? Somewhere soon there's going to be a supposed mass outbreak in this country, and then we're all going to be told you have to use the app. And then also we're going to be told you must have the tracking app to be able to get back to work. And I'm going to prove it to you in a second.
Cybersecurity agencies are currently checking the app.
There is no geolocation or anything like that on this app.
This is simply...
Did you hear what he just said? There's no geolocation on this map. Do you know what this app is? It tracks where you are and tells other people where you are if you have coronavirus or you've had coronavirus, i.e. the definition of a tracking app.
digitising a manual process, and I think Australians will want to get back to the park. I reckon they'll... digitising a manual process, and I think Australians will want to get back to the park. I reckon...
It's your fault. If you don't have the tracking app, you're not going back to the park. Folks, this is a setup. If coronavirus is so bad, folks, and they've got to close schools down, they've got to close work down, how come I can still go and get on one of these, which are still running 24/7 in Australia? This is a local government bus, by the way. Notice how it's got the lovely air-conditioned, no fresh air. And these are still running. Notice the lovely closed windows, no fresh air. Notice how they closed all the beaches with lovely fresh air. This is a list of the beaches in New South Wales that they've shut. They've even closed national parks. What is nobody understanding about this is absolute bullshit. If you can't go to work because you're going to spread this to people, why can you still get on one of these? And why can you still get on one of these? And why can I still buy a ticket to fly across Australia in an air-conditioned plane? But remember to keep your social distancing. This is all bullshit, folks. What's the difference between sitting on one of these and opening a school and keeping a school open for all the kids to run around in, and the teacher who sits at the front of the class, social distancing, as always, that's never changed, from the class? Why are religious churches, etc., places of worship shut down when I can go and get on one of these one of these and a plane, or I can go to a shopping mall with thousands of people. IKEA is still open. Bunnings is still open. Malls all across Australia are still open. But we can't go to work. This is the biggest load of bullshit in history, folks, and you're being set up. Now, let me take you back to Richie. I watched the video from Richie where he was saying how he outlined how this was all going to go down, and I thought, oh yeah, look, that's a bit heavy, that's a bit too much, you know. Then something miraculous happened. This video here, which is 15 minutes long, honestly, folks, this is the main reason why I'm sending this. I'm asking you guys to make sure that Richie from Boston hears this. This is an ABC interviewer here in Australia interviewing the former governor of the Bank of England, Mervyn King. What this guy was saying in this interview was nothing short of scandalous, folks. What this guy was saying basically is we need to turn all countries now into communist states. He even says in this, people must be forced to have certificates to prove that they've been eradicated of coronavirus to go back to work. If you think I'm joking, watch the video. That's why I want you guys to send this to Richie from Boston. This guy is a big, big, big elite player, folks. Listen to what he says. This is what's coming for Australia. They're going to use this in Australia as a test model first before they use it anywhere else. And I'm telling you, this is the truth. Listen to what this guy's saying. It is absolutely scandalous. If you think I'm joking, just watch the video. I can't say it enough, folks. You just can't believe what this guy is saying in this interview. And not only that, you can't believe what this woman is saying to get the questions she's asking him. We are now being run by socialist, communist dictators. Don't believe me? Watch the video. Don't believe Richie? Watch his videos.
Plan look like?
So I think it will be, an exit plan ideally would be based on the existence of a vaccine, but that's too far down the road. So I think an exit plan is likely to be based on an ability to identify, using the antigen tests, those people who have had the virus and recovered from it and developed antibodies so that they are no longer likely to pass any disease on. They will be immune. And these people will be given certificates which will enable them to go back to work, because it is important that those men...
Still think I'm joking, folks? Okay, folks, I think I got the message across. Let's do the prayers. And remember, folks, tomorrow is Passover Day, the 20th. Verse of the day, if you declare with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For it is with your heart that you believe and are justified, and it is with your mouth that you profess your faith and are saved. And as always, folks, we'll finish with the Lord's Prayer. Because, man, we need it now. Fair dinkum. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. All right, folks, please like and share. God bless. Prep out.